Only one day after the new carbon tax hikes increases in Canada, and people are already taking to the streets and social media to tell Justin Trudeau they've had enough. Let's get into it.
Oh, yeah!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. If you guys like clips, boy, do I have video clips to show you today. And the civil unrest that's going on in this country is just unbelievable. But before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to let you know that we're very quickly coming up on 30,000 subscribers here on the channel. It would be great if you're enjoying this content to give a thumbs up and a comment, help get us out in the algorithm. If you're enjoying this video, it tells other people that this is a video worth watching. And yeah, your subscription helps the channel by growing and getting out there as well. So if you enjoy that, hit that button and let's get into today's videos. At least the plethora of clips we have. Justin Trudeau, if you watched our earlier video today, you'll notice that Justin Trudeau was unveiling his phony baloney new school program for children, which he's touting that it's going to help pay for 400,000 students roughly out of $1 billion to not have to go hungry, children to not have to go hungry at school. As a father with 2 kids out of my 3 currently in school, I can tell you that in Calgary, I pay just over $1,000 a year just for my kids to be allowed to stay at school for lunch. It's bananas. It's roughly $60 a month for both children. And what we're told is that they have to pay for supervisors to be there, even though the teachers are already there on shift. I understand that there's policies, that there's costs to running things, but for those charges, and for Trudeau to now come in and say, we're going to pay for students' lunches so kids don't go hungry. I'm not against kids eating better or having more options. But Justin Trudeau has caused the problem that we're now facing in the country. So let's take a look at what is going on, because again, I don't want to spend too much time with a lengthy opinionated intro, because boy, do we have clips as civil unrest is hitting the country. And I'm going to have videos tomorrow showing the carbon tax protests that are going on in the country right now, across the country, and the pushback as a result, because let's be honest, Justin Trudeau's Liberals don't want that information getting out. They don't want to see people speaking up again. Justin Trudeau touts multiple times how important it is for people to have the right to protest in this country, yet anytime it's against him or his nefarious means, they shut them down. We have Bradshaw, good friend of the channel, coming out with a post about the new school announcement. Boy, she hits the nail on the head. Let's take a listen.
Hi, all my fellow Canadians and Americans and my loud Fringe Albertans. This tweet right here, it's pissed me off. And I must explain why this tweet is pissing me off. Kids are going back to school this morning, but some of them won't have enough to eat because money's tight at home. So you are placing the blame at home why money is tight? You're not taking any accountability for your tax increases? You're not going to take no accountability for how this country is run into the ground right now. No, you're going to blame mommy and daddy for not being able to feed their children? Our National Food School program is going to put healthy food on plates and take the pressure off parents. Really? So again, you are trying to be this little saving grace for our children. See, mommy and daddy can't protect you. Mommy and daddy can't feed you. Mommy and daddy can't house you. And we'll take care of you? This is what you're trying to portray to our children? I hope people go over to X and really tell Trudeau exactly how you feel, because he is putting down every single parent that would go hungry for their children. And he is going to come out and say, I'm going to take care of you. No, you're not going to take care of anyone other than yourself. And you have proved it by raising the prices so the parents can't afford food the way they used to. Because kids know the difference. Because back before 2019, I bet you there wasn't very many kids out there suffering. But they're suffering right now. And they know the difference because they used to have a better life before Justin Trudeau.
Oh, one point I want to touch on there, and again, go give Bradshaw a follow. She's also on TikTok at Maya Bradshaw. Go follow her. She has some great content that comes out on both X and the TikTok platform. But one thing she does touch on is that kids weren't suffering. Now, we all know that poverty is inevitable in any functioning society, and again, there are children, regardless of successful times or times of recession, that are suffering. And again, I'm all for children having a better shot at not going hungry. But she nails it on the head here that Justin Trudeau's Liberals have created the problem. They've increased the carbon tax, as Pierre Poilievre says, that taxes the farmers, taxes the trucker. You know the spiel. One thing I find important that I should have pulled up prior, that I wanted to pull up from Marty up north here, is a good old fact about Jagmeet Singh's brother. I bet people didn't know this. While Jagmeet Singh is in the House of Commons, yelling at the Conservatives, saying they have no plan to do anything to stop these greedy CEOs and grocery stores taking mass profits. Well, isn't it funny, Marty tweeting out here, Jagmeet Singh's brother is a lobbyist who works for Metro Inc. Metro Inc. is the Canadian food retailer in direct competition with Loblaws. This is where I've said numerous times, follow the money. Sorry, I accidentally clicked off there. Let's go back. Follow the money. Let's take a look at the images here. Guratan Singh, VP at Crestview Strategy, communication advocate, lawyer, former member of provincial parliament, and fan of all things veggie. Tweets are my own. Of course, you see here on Metro Inc., he was a consultant at Crestview Strategies. Or this is Christine Million, Crestview Strategies. You see Serena Rehal, Crestview Strategies. Stefano Hollins, Crestview Strategy. So these are all listings underneath. His brother company has Metro as a client that they lobby for. Follow the money, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we're at. Now, one thing that popped up there when I went through my totally unorganized hunt for Marty's tweet, this video that comes out, again, one day after the increase in taxes. It says food prices in Canada are insane. Moral of the story, don't move here. Let's take a look at what they found over at Costco.
This is for anyone thinking of moving to Canada. Our food prices are outrageous. Here we have a pack of drumsticks from Costco, $202 for this pack, or $224 for this one. Moral of the story, don't move here. This is for anyone.
That's insane. Usually, so those are prepared drumsticks, and again, I don't know the cost of that versus other things, especially, I'm not sure where in the country they're filming this from, but I can tell you that I haven't seen prices like that yet. I haven't been to Costco, mind you, since the prices have gone up, but that is just insanity. And that's food, by the way, that perishes. That's food that if it's not bought within a couple of days, it goes bad. Like, this is where I don't understand the carbon pricing, because essentially when you talk about kids going hungry, when you talk about people going hungry in general, this is what the carbon tax is doing to everybody. This is why Pierre Poilievre, when we talk about axonomics, Pierre Poilievre wants to get rid of the tax, axe the tax, so that these prices can hopefully come down. Now, again, I've said there needs to be legislation to push retailers to say, look, the tax is gone. You have no more excuse. You can't take record profits. You'll have to adjust based on the cost to deliver the food. But again, it's food that goes bad. If this food gets thrown out, the company just reports a loss. They don't give this food to the homeless. They don't cook it up and serve it to people that need. It just gets disposed of. If you ever go out back, I used to know somebody who managed a Tim Hortons back in my early 20s when we just had got out of high school for a couple of years, and a friend of mine managed to hit Tim Hortons, and he said the amount of waste that they throw out at the end of the day is absolute insanity. In fact, the Tim Hortons that he used to manage was downtown. He used to take all of the pastries, the donuts, anything left over, he would actually put in a very large clear bag and just haul it on over to the Mustard Seed in Calgary. Because he said, this is insanity. I'm not going to throw this stuff out just because, like, there was nothing wrong with it. There was no mold on it. This was stuff that sat for a few hours, and by Tim Hortons standards, they weren't wanting to serve it to people, even though if you'd bought it at a grocery store, it would probably sit on your kitchen counter or in your fridge for a day or two before you would decide to dispose of it. So he says, no, we're not going to do that. I think that's what stores should be doing if that food isn't bought. And in fact, those stores should be looking at the amount of waste that they're contributing. When we talk about things that are bad for the environment, people not surviving is terrible for this world. Something needs to be done. Of course, you see Justin Trudeau taking stabs at the premiers because he's the king of division. And again, this plays into him getting his day of justice. We're going to get into that, ladies and gentlemen, so stick around. Again, this starts out bleak, but it ends on a positive note, so stick around for the end. Here we go with Justin Trudeau saying that it's all everyone else's fault. It's not his fault. It's these greedy premiers that don't want to jump on board.
That are busy complaining about the price on pollution, but not putting forward a concrete alternative that they think would be better for their communities, are just playing politics. Every province has the opportunity to put forward its own plan, as long as they are fighting climate change to the same level that we're asking all other Canadians to do. That's what a federal backstop is. But we're not seeing detailed plans from the premiers on this. They'd much rather try to complain about it and make political hay out of this. But Canadians know we need to fight climate change, and we need to be supporting people with more money in their pockets. That's what the federal backstop does. That's what the Canada Carbon Rebate that's landing in people's bank accounts as of April 15th is going to help them with. And that's a Canada Carbon Rebate, money in people's pockets, that conservative politicians want to take away.
X to doubt there, Skippy. That it's not money in people's pockets. In fact, we've shown numerous times on this channel how the budgetary commissioner has said that there is no evidence that money stops the environment from having issues, that you're spending more than you're getting back. They've concluded that wide open. I've spoken to many people or through the comments section of this channel that have said they have yet to receive any kind of rebate. And again, we've gone over what these rebates are going to be and how you qualify for them. And it seems like those who are living well below the poverty line are the only ones receiving any kind of benefit. I think, again, if you're contributing to the carbon tax, then you should be getting the benefit back. No matter what you're making every year, you're paying out. So if he truly means that statement, that would be the case. But again, when he talks about a federal backstop, essentially it's a ransom. You know, he says all provinces have the right to choose. We've seen that British Columbia has done their own carbon tax, or at least their own plan for carbon tax. And it's nothing more than a ransom from the government that if you don't jump on board, we're going to make your lives difficult. We're going to put our own federal policies against you. So it's kind of like holding a firearm to somebody's head and saying, do what I say or else. There's no, but the level of triggering doesn't go beyond here, because this just shows how much they're losing it, that people aren't buying into the narrative anymore. And we see it here, even in a committee meeting. Conservative MPs are showing a Liberal MP is triggered by an I love Canadian oil and gas sticker on a Conservative MP's laptop. Seriously. Like, they just can't stand people who want prosperity, people who understand reality, people who know that, hey, the cell phones we use, the laptops we're on all day long, the TVs we watch, the polyester jackets that we wear, the vehicles that we drive, they're all byproducts of oil and gas. Anybody who's going to say otherwise, that's why I always find it so hypocritical when you see people like Greta going to protests in their big North Face puffed out jackets, saying, well, it's cold outside and we're here to talk about, climate change and how you're destroying the environment by fracking oil. Your jacket was made from oil. That's the hypocrisy. While you were also driven here by a convoy of vehicles to protect you from those who are against you. But let's take a look at the triggering here, because here's where things start to melt down, folks, and it gets better with each clip that we go. Let's start here.
And
Go
my,
ahead, Mr.
my
Naxi.
sincere apologies to the Premier. I don't want to be disrespectful. I think yesterday, I see Mr. Hallen has a prop on his computer. Yesterday, you deemed that to be a prop, so I would just suggest that if he can not display that while he's on the screen, I'll appreciate it, because that's...
Sure.
yeah.
I can't see from the angle I'm at, but oh yes, Mr. Naxi has a point. If you wouldn't mind, thank you, sir.
Too bad the Liberals are triggered
you've-
by a sticker. Once.
Is this really where we're at? This is taxpayer dollars, by the way. This is taxpayer dollars that pay for these committees. And he wastes time. I don't like your sticker. It's offensive. It's just, it's hilarious. Now look at this. Now we've seen even people out protesting. And again, I am going to have coverage tomorrow. Make sure to check back with the channel. Again, this is where your bell for notifications, your subscriptions, they're all important. Come back and check out, because there's a shadow ban in effect on YouTube, and they do not want people seeing this content. The government doesn't want people seeing this content. But here you go. Now, while again, I don't like it when people like Dina are protesting out in Ottawa, and she brings her daughter around with her. If you don't know who Dina is, keep in mind for tomorrow's video. Again, I'll be showing you plenty of clips about that clown, but she takes her daughter around. And again, I've often said, even though I make my living in politics, I started out making political satire books. A lot of people thought that I was indoctrinating children with those books, and I've always said, no, they were made for adults. My daughter, my 9-year-old daughter, has read my books, but again, she reads them because that's what dad makes for a living, and I'm interested in what dad does. But I would not condone my children getting involved in politics like this. I think this is funny, but at the same time, I'm going to play devil's advocate and say it kind of is enforcing your beliefs and opinions on a child that may be susceptible to influence from outside areas. And I gotta call it, folks, because I've talked about puberty blockers. I've talked about influencing kids with surgeries that aren't necessary. And I've said the same thing on the liberal side, that you can't push children to do these things. I think that every child deserves to grow up and form their own opinions based on their own surroundings without outside interference. But here we go. A child fed up with Justin Trudeau. And again, it's fun to watch. But again, just know when I show this, I don't necessarily agree with it. Here we go.
You belong to them. They're Justin Trudeau. Parents, kids. Who hates him? We do. Yeah. Trudeau's gotta go. Yeah, Trudeau's gotta go. Trudeau's gotta go.
Funny, but again, the parent telling the kid what to say, it's a little, it is a little bit on the pushy side. Now the tweet down here has a point where it says, we're all in this together, young and old, as Trudeau and the Liberals must feed the children of Canada after they tax farmers into bankruptcy and increase the cost of food for children and all Canadians. Again, I'm not gonna poo-poo on this person, but just say that again, I would personally try to keep my kids out of it. I'm happy for families that do include their children, that find there's a way to explain it to kids. And again, I'm not judging any family that does. I just think, me personally, I want my kids to openly figure out on their own where they stand on politics and what works for them. But as we go on, Sean Fraser. Oh, this is a good one. Sean Fraser went to a press conference earlier today, and this has been going viral on Twitter because they're talking about the housing programs and how they're building for Canadians and they're trying to make things for Canadians. And this is where you can see the true rhetoric of people having enough of their government. It gets loud. I'm just going to tell you, there is a little bit of language in this video that you can hear in the background. So again, if you have children around, there's your warning. It is... It's too good. Let's get on with it. Let's see what happens when Sean Fraser tries to talk about the housing program.
But we're not just going to put this money on the table, wash our hands of the issue and walk away. We're going to insist that our partners make certain kinds of changes that make it easier and faster to build homes in this country. We're going to negotiate agreements before January 1st of 2025 that will require our partners to implement changes, including allowing people to build a a small apartment with 4 units on land that they already own. It's going to include requirements that they adopt forthcoming changes to the National Building Code to ensure we're building affordable and efficient buildings to provide homes for people who live in this country. We're going to insist that there is as a
Look, the guy's got to build the houses. They can't stop working because of your press conference. Of course, if you thought maybe that was a drum or something, no, that is the construction workers banging their hammers very loud, yelling F Trudeau while they're trying to have this press conference. Oh, it's glorious. This is my favorite clip. Well, not my favorite because we're getting to my favorite. Out of this whole video, ladies and gentlemen, I had to compose myself as much as possible before making this video for you because I actually fell on the floor laughing when I saw this. But of course, Justin Trudeau was next. Justin Trudeau was next to speak, talking about. Now, you remember Sean Fraser saying in a committee that this federal housing program doesn't actually build houses, that it doesn't do anything. Well, here they are saying, "Hey, look, we're actually building houses, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just a photo op. We all know the truth." PM Trudeau says immigration to Canada has grown at a rate beyond what Canada has been able to absorb. And adding that temporary immigration has caused so much pressure on our communities in relation to housing. Temporary immigration, you mean the illegal immigrants that are crossing Roxham Road into Canada? That you're allowing into the country, which you're also spending $100 million housing them in hotels, waiting for their day in court. Let's take a listen. Again, it's a little loud, ladies and gentlemen, but let's see what happened when Justin Trudeau tried to speak here.
It's really important to understand the context around immigration. Every year we bring in about 450, now close to 500,000 permanent residents a year. And that is part of the necessary growth of Canada. It benefits our citizens, our communities, it benefits our economy. These are the levels that we have stabilized and grown steadily over the past years because that's what Canada needs to continue to have a strong economy and strong communities. However, over the past few years, we've seen a massive spike in temporary immigration, whether it's temporary foreign workers or whether it's international students in particular that have grown at a rate far beyond what Canada has been able to absorb. To give an example, in 2017, 2% of Canada's population was made up of temporary immigrants. Now, we're at 7.5% of our population comprised of temporary immigrants. That's something that we need to get back under control, both for the benefits of those people, but as international students, we're seeing increasingly vulnerable to mental health challenges, to not being able to thrive and get the education they want, but also increasingly more and more businesses relying on temporary foreign workers in a way that's driving down wages in some sectors. So we want to get those numbers down. It's a responsible approach to immigration that continues on our permanent residents as we have, but holds the line a little more on the temporary immigration that has caused so much pressure in our communities.
Oh my God. Oh, it's just too much. It's too. Listen, those guys got to work because they got to pay for the food that you've raised the prices on, Skippy. They're. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best to just get it together here. It's just so damn funny. I just can't get past these guys banging their hammers. Go, what's the government going to do? Tell them to stop working so they can have their press conference and get their photo ops? This is brilliant at its finest. I think this is what needs to happen when we talk about fighting back, when we talk about how we get into things. And this is where I was talking about humor yesterday. This is where humor really shines. We need to come back in a positive, lighthearted way that tells the government, not here anymore. We're not doing this. Could you imagine if people were yelling like this in the school where Justin Trudeau was doing his announcement about this food program? If the teachers were saying we're underpaid and we're not putting up with this nonsense. Like it's so you love to see it. I can't say enough. And again, I know this is a very lengthy video, and I usually try to keep the videos lower, but there was just too many good things to show you guys in this video, and I hope you stuck around for it all. Let me know your comments down below if you think Canada has civil unrest and if this is the end of it. Let me know if you're looking forward to seeing the coverage of the national carbon tax protest. I'll have lots of that for you here tomorrow on the channel. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to laugh. If it's your first time here again, I hope my videos earned your subscription. Make sure to hit that button. Join us back. I promise I'll keep it together on the next one. I'm tearing up. I'm laughing so much. Join us live on the channel every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Central for Friday Night Fringe. We'll definitely be talking about this. I'm sure we'll probably show this video again. And it'll take me an hour to get it together so we can continue on with the stream. But join us on those streams. It's always great to hear from people in the community and hear what they have to say outside of making these videos. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you there. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you on the next one.